All right. Hello, everyone. Happy pre-Thanksgiving. Um, I was having technical difficulties, so let me let everyone know that is waiting in the other room to come on over here. So let me get them in, and then we're gonna get started. Just a moment. Sorry about these technical difficulties. It's not doesn't let you like start and join, stop it and restart it. So for whatever reason, it would not connect to YouTube. But you are not here to hear about tech difficulties. We are here to talk about how I went from overworked to financially free. That's what we are here to talk about. And let me see if I can get my tech. Got it messed up. It did not work out properly again. But now, okay, I think we're there. Hello, welcome, welcome. Let me know where you are joining from in the chat. And let's get started because I know that it's Thanksgiving Eve, and I know you may want to go spend time with family or rest, or maybe you're cooking. So I just wanted to be able to come on and just share a little bit about my story. So, the real talk though is a lot of us don't even realize that we do not have a retirement plan, but more so we have a tax plan that was designed by the IRS. A lot of us don't even realize that. I know I didn't. I was always taught to you know, contribute to my 401k, contribute to my 403b, all of that, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that. But at the end of the day, we have to understand how these things work and how they're going to work, especially when we get ready to have our work optional or recreationally employed lifestyle. So let me know in the chat who here wants to have a work optional, recreationally employed lifestyle. Let me know in the chat. I am ready to hear from you. Hopefully the chat is working. So let me break this down. So for me personally, I went from overwork to work optional, and I want to break down how I did that by eliminating taxes, certain risk and fees, because I don't want to say that I don't participate in the market, but my participation in the market is not necessarily for retirement. It has a different purpose. And so my first thing I will share with you is that you want to give all of your money a mission. And so think about what happened with folks in 2008, right? Let's say you were getting ready to retire in 2010. We all know what happened with people's retirement accounts in 2008, right? And so, long story short, if they were getting ready to retire and if they lost half or however much of their accounts, well, guess what? That could set their retirement back tremendously. So we that's one thing we have to understand is that as we get closer to retirement, we also have to be mindful of how our money is allocated. You are just fine, William. It was my tech's fault. So you have made it. Welcome in. I'm glad you got to the right room. So let me tell you a little bit about me. So I'm Mia James. Welcome to the Beyond the Business YouTube channel. And I help professionals and businesses design tax free retirement strategies to eliminate taxes, risks, and fees. Right. And so tonight I'm just going to be sharing how I did that for myself and what I do for my clients. But this is not tax or legal advice at all. Okay. So I'm just sharing some strategies that have worked for me. So let me tell you a little bit about my story and how I got here. So let's go all the way back to the 1900s when I was in high school. Long story short, I um I was the only girl selected in my high school in my senior year class to compete in the stock exchange. Okay. Um and my father basically told me that I could not compete because I was the only girl selected and he did not want me to be around boys. Now, mind you, I went to a high school full of nerds. Hey, Errol, welcome. And I went to a high school full of nerds. And because my father told me I was a girl and I couldn't compete, even though I won the opportunity to compete at the stock exchange as a high school student, because I really loved investing, I lost my confidence in investing. I had actually started investing at 16. My parents allowed me to get a custodial account, and I was doing my thing. Well, because my dad told me that, I lacked confidence, and I was doing everything that the experts said do, right? Um, as I got older, which was like maxing out my 403b because I worked in education, riding the market roller coaster, paying certain fees on certain things. And I definitely didn't have a tax strategy because taxes is not my expertise. A lot of people think accounting and finance is the same thing, but it's not. So put a one in the chat if you understand the difference between accounting and finance, because I have a tax strategist. Even though I work in finance, I have a tax strategist as a business owner because the tax code is actually written in the benefit of business owners. Yes, Errol, I know you know. Hey, Natasha, I'm glad you made it over. So, excellent. This is great to see some ones in the chat. And it's okay if you don't understand that because I want to make sure that you leave here tonight educated. So, the turning point for me and how I started finding a diversification of strategies. Hey, Terry, happy Thanksgiving Eve, everyone. Is that I met Tasha Batts, who is my wealth mentor, and I have met him in person, but I started listening to Dr. Boyce Watkins. So if y'all do not know who Tasha Batts is, she goes under Tasha Chen, Chen. And if you don't know who Dr. Boyce Watkins is, but I believe you all on here do, if you don't, and please, by all means, start listening to them on YouTube. They are life changing. And what that helped me to do is to become confident again in investing and diversifying my strategies because I had become very confident in protecting my money, but then I wanted to get back into the market for different purposes. So for me, one of the biggest surprises that I found, because I was so conservative because of the situation that happened when I lost my confidence in investing, I was so conservative that I allowed somebody to put me into an account that only earned 2% per year, y'all. Mm-mm. And I'm like, you know what? As, financially aware people, being economically conscious, it is crucial that we understand the terms of each account that we're in. So one of my biggest things is that I'm a financial educator. I want you to understand why you have what you have, and I want you to understand how it works. And I want to ask you a series of questions for you to give your money a mission. So let me know in the chat, how many of you have given your money a mission? How many of you have a money mission? Just put a me in the chat. The other thing is that when I rebuilt my retirement plan, is these are the 3 rules that I use. Number 1, I don't donate extra money to the IRS, because what a lot of times we don't understand is that when we get a tax refund, because a lot of people get so excited to get a tax refund, the government is using our money all year round when we could personally be enjoying our funds ourselves or investing them in a way that benefits our family, right? All year round. The second thing is that I insured against risk before chasing return. So Dr. Boyce always talks about insurance, right? And there's different ways to get insurance. I'm very, very big on insurance is one of my specialties, actually. And so I'm big on insurance all the way around, but you can have insurance on your investments as well as your life, as well as your car, your home. There's different ways that you can have insurance. And then the other thing is be wary of fees. So that's my third rule. We want to starve the fee machine. Okay. I love it. Thank you, Natasha. The poor man's lottery. Yes, tax refund. Okay. Exactly. So awesome. So who else gives their money a mission, right? Because it's absolutely nothing wrong with investing, but you have to understand how it plays a role in you becoming financially free. So the first thing I did, I fired my boss at 40. Okay. So my goal was to bet on myself or have faith in myself that I could earn enough income that I no longer had to go to the plantation, because it was a plantation for me, y'all. Some people love their job, but that's not. I loved what I did. I just didn't like the environment that I was doing it in. So, put a one in the chat if you too want to be able to leave your environment. Nobody will see this. That's okay, because after no one will see the chat afterwards. So it's all good. But put a one in the chat if you want to be able to step away and have a source of income, because Errol always talks about replacing your cost of living. So while I was working, I had a job, and that job allowed me to invest and save, right? And create a cushion so that I could build my business on the side until it replaced my income. Awesome, Natasha. Yes. And so when you do step out on faith, you want to have a plan. I think that's the most important thing. But within that plan, you want to understand how each cog in the wheel works. Because if you don't understand, like, how is this 401k working for me? How is this stock brokerage portfolio working for me? What is the purpose of each specific piece you have in that plan? The other thing, because we're wrapping up long-term care month, is this is November. This is long-term care awareness month. Do you have a plan in place where if you are hit by a medical emergency and you need to be taken care of, or you need to go into a home, do you have something in place where if you start having these high medical expenses, it doesn't drain your other assets? Or do you have an income stream in place that doesn't require you to be there? Can you basically live off your assets so you don't have to keep exchanging time for money? So when you're putting together your plan, for me as a self-employed person, I made sure that I have X amount of not retirement fund, excuse me, emergency fund, because basically I knew I was quitting my job and I wanted to have a nice cushion. So that's number one. Anytime somebody wants to step away, you want to have, I would probably recommend 12 months. And I know that sounds like a lot, but sometimes if your business is not cash flowing a consistent amount, then every month, and it happens sometimes at the beginning of a business, you want to make sure you have either that cushion or some type of passive revenue that can come in and fill in the gap if you have slow revenue months. So I hope y'all are tracking with me here. Okay. Oh, that's what's up, William. I love it. Fellow entrepreneur. That's what's up. Awesome. So the next thing I want to do, I'm going to share my screen and I want to break down the tax buckets, because this is one of the most profound things that I've ever learned. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so you'll see me looking over to the side. Yes, I'm going to allow that, and we want to do this. Okay. So hopefully y'all can see my screen. Looks like you can. And blow it up on your screen if it's too small, because it looks small on my end, but I don't know how it is for you. So I want you to understand the most important thing tonight is eliminating taxes, right? I don't know if we'll be able to get into risks and fees. I may have to do that on a different live, because we got stock options with Dr. Boyce at 8:30. So we'll do taxes tonight, right? And I'll break down some more of my plan. So essentially, there's 3 different tax buckets, okay? Right? And so a lot of us are familiar with this first tax bucket here. So we have these assets that are held for retirement purposes. So we have our typical 401ks, our 403bs, our traditional IRAs, our pension plans, all of that you have in this bucket here, right? Now, while you're working, your taxes are deferred. But how many of you plan to reduce your lifestyle when you retire? I like to call it work optional or recreationally employed. How many? Just let me know. Either yes, you do plan to cut your lifestyle down, or no, you do not plan to cut your lifestyle down. For me, I always knew that I want to be able to travel as much as I want. I want to be able to live where I want to live. So I may not necessarily be in a lower tax bracket when I retire. But remember, I haven't paid any money on this wonderful forest I have accumulated over the last 20, 30, 40 years. I haven't paid taxes on it. It's tax deferred. And how many of you have ever seen, maybe someone here that's older than me, how many of us have ever seen the tax rate go down? Anybody? Because I want to know, because I haven't seen it, and I haven't heard it in the research either. Let me know in the chat. Y'all gotta talk back to me. Maybe y'all cooking, so I'll let it go tonight. Okay, so this is bucket one. Your income taxes are referred. And how many of you would rather pay taxes on the seed versus pay taxes on the forest? Because you have to think about it. When you go to withdraw your money in retirement, you might take out, I don't know, $6, $7, $8,000 a month. But guess what? You got to pay taxes on that. Right? And so if you're taking out let's say you're taking out 10 grand a month, because remember, 30, 40 years in the future, there's inflation. So things cost more. Maybe you've probably paid off your house, but as we get older, the cost of your health care goes up, right? Unless you have a wonderful job that pays for your health care for life, right? But then there might be long-term care needs. You might need a new vehicle. There's all types of things that can happen that may not necessarily allow you to reduce your lifestyle. So when you go to take out, let's say by then, let's say it's a 30%, you're at 30% for taxes, then let's say you go and you take out 10 grand a month, right? Then 30% of taxes is 3,000. So you actually only net 7,000. Then you have your middle category here. So this is for those of us who are investors, right? We have stocks, mutual funds, real estate. This is called capital gains taxes. Now with capital gains taxes, how this works is you only pay taxes as you earn money. So if you're making money, you're selling stock options, or you one of your stocks in your portfolio went up and you decided to sell it so you can realize some of that gain. Well, guess what? You're going to get a 1099 at the end of the year, 1099-R, and you're going to have to pay taxes on that return. Not a problem, because you were profitable, but you have to take that into consideration, because sometimes people make these decisions but don't realize they're going to get hit with a tax bill and then they owe taxes. But then this is often an overlooked asset over here. This is called the tax-free distribution. This is what a lot of us don't necessarily look at right off the bat, right? We may not even be aware that this exists. Many of us know about a Roth IRA. And so basically, when you contribute to a Roth IRA, you know that that money that you put in is tax-free. Well, you've already paid the taxes on the money. Excuse me. You still paid the taxes. let's not get it twisted. Then you have municipal bonds. So you might get that in your area at a local bank. And then you have something called cash value life insurance. But do I have any real estate investors in the chat? Put a RE in the chat if you are a real estate investor. Hey, Pixie Chicks. Put a RE in the chat. Any real estate investors? Okay. So I don't see any. So basically, with a Roth IRA, let's just say you are a real estate investor, or you okay, awesome. Hey, KP, KJ. Oh, that's Kyrie, is that you, girl? Hey, y'all. Okay, we got some real estate investors. There we go. Okay, I said the right word. Okay. No, William, you are not poor. You are learning. You are in a learning mode. Yes, exactly. Right now, poor is a state of mind, right? You're not poor. I'm sure you have many assets. They may not be money, but you might have many assets. Okay. So for my real estate investors, some of you, maybe not all of you, you might leverage OPM, which stands for other people's money. But let's just say, for sake of the example, that you put some money down on an investment property. Hey, girl. And let's just say you wanted to buy an investment property. You didn't necessarily have the cash, but you got assets. So remember, when you have assets, you can leverage those assets to get other assets, right? Anybody, can I get a witness? Anybody ever did that before? You leverage one asset to get another asset. If that's you in the chat, put a me in the chat because I want to make sure I'm in the right room here, right? Now, you can potentially borrow from a 401k if you have one. But what if you're like me, you're self-employed, you don't have a 401k, but maybe you have a Roth IRA or a traditional IRA. Now, thank you, Terry. Okay, so let's just say that you have those things, but you want to withdraw. Well, if you withdraw before 59 and a half, and it's not necessarily for your primary residence, what happens? Does anybody know what happens when you take a withdrawal? It's not a loan, because like I don't have a 401k or 403b, so I can't take a loan from something like that. I may have other assets like a Roth IRA or traditional IRA, but what happens if I try to withdraw money from one of those accounts and I'm not of age? Does anybody know what happens in the chat? Okay, well, let me tell you because I don't see it yet. Maybe y'all are still typing. But there's, depending on which account it is, thank you, Terry, you are taxed. Okay, so if you take money out of a traditional IRA, and there's something else that happens too. Anybody know what that is? If you're under 59 and a half, you also get a 10% penalty from the IRS because that money is supposed to be held for retirement purposes. But if you're a real estate investor, right? Let's say you have cash value life insurance. You can take a loan or a withdrawal at any age as long as the money is available and you can use it to purchase more assets. So that's one, leveraging one asset over another. So when I discovered that, I was like, wait a minute, this is awesome. Because when you're self-employed and you don't have a 401k to borrow from and you want to go do, make other asset moves, where do you pull from, right? Without being hit with taxes or penalties. So one of the biggest things that I learned about on my journey to financial freedom was cash value life insurance. And I've personally been able to use it, pull out, take a withdrawal, and I've had no taxes or penalties. And I'm like, oh, this is how this works. And so when you hear people talk about be your own bank, things of that nature, this is one tool that people leverage. And with with many of these, you are able to, if you take a loan, pay them back. And again, when you pay them back, that money goes back to you. And so I am going to stop there. I want to know if anyone has any questions about how taxes are distributed across. Any questions? I wish this was Zoom and y'all could just come off mute. So this is one of the most important things that I've ever learned, is like how I leverage, where do I put my retirement money? And if I need to use that money to purchase additional assets, where can I get it without having to be heavily taxed or penalized? So this was all about, in my financial journey, I'm trying to eliminate taxes, eliminate risk, eliminate fees. So when you think about your layout of your assets, think about like which bucket do they fall in? And a lot of people even consider, if you have most of your assets over here in the tax deferred, some people consider Roth conversions, right? Where you go ahead and pay the taxes now while you know what the tax rate is, right? And you're possibly paying less taxes, but we don't know because that's unpredictable. So no questions in the chat? Did anybody learn anything new? I always like to make sure that people have something they took away. I would love to know what your takeaways were for tonight. Or what did it make you think about? What do you want to learn more about? Let me know in the chat. Because we got 2 minutes before. Okay, what would you like to know? Pixie Chicks, what would you like to know? And so we will have a couple several other discussions because I had a lot more I wanted to say, but the technical difficulty set me back. Was this helpful for y'all to break the taxes down, what goes where? Okay, thank you, Terry. Do you receive cash value life insurance from your whole life insurance policy? Yes, your whole life insurance policy should have cash value. Now, a lot of times, if you don't pay that much into it, Terry, then your cash value won't be looking that sexy. I'm gonna tell you straight up. Like so many people that have whole life insurance, they're not really pleased with the outcome. And Pixie Chicks, what question did I say? What did I say? Remind me because I said a lot of things, so I don't know what. Just say it, let me know directly in the chat, and I'll answer it for you. Yeah, so if you're paying $25 a month into a whole life policy or any type of permanent policy, a lot of times you are not going to see a great cash value return, which is why a lot of people are unhappy. But the more you put into it, it's just like with any investment, the better your outcomes will be. William, the best way to file taxes, that depends. And I'm not a tax expert. And so I also want to let y'all know I'm not giving any investment advice or tax advice. This is just my journey and what I educate my clients on. But that depends because that's a loaded question. I mean, it depends on if you have a business or not. Do you have dependents or not? What type of write-offs you have? Are you itemizing or not? Doing the standard deduction. So that is a very loaded question. And I would actually, if you do have a business, because I know you said you've been an entrepreneur your whole life, you may want to consider a tax strategist just to make sure you're maximizing your taxes. All righty, y'all. Well, I will do a part 2 to this because I did not get a chance to go into risks and fees. But this right here, this strategy, game changer. Game changer. Okay. With the taxes. If you understand your buckets, because when you go to pull money out from, let's say, cash value life insurance or Roth IRA, and you go to pull 100 grand, you get 100 grand. If you go pull it out from a 401k, you go pull out 100 grand. If the tax rate is 30%, you only get 7 grand. So if you don't take anything away from what I'm saying tonight, really consider even diversifying what type of accounts that you have for your work optional lifestyle so that you can enjoy more of your money when you're no longer exchanging time for money. So I hope that was helpful for y'all. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. We will do a part 2 because I have a lot more to share with you all. But I want to honor the fact that some of us are going to go to stock options class tonight, and I got to finish my peach cobbler. Y'all got to go make the crust and everything. So I have to be responsible. So I hope everyone who celebrates has a great Thanksgiving. I hope this was helpful. If you do have any questions, you can either leave them in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe to my YouTube channel. And, definitely leave any questions in the comments. I'll come through and answer them. Or if you want to have a consultation, again, I'm not a tax professional. I'm a financial professional. Then you can go to my website, which is beyondthebusyness.com, and you can schedule a complimentary consultation. All right, everyone, have a great night, and thank y'all so much for coming on tonight. I'm so surprised there was so many people, but it was great to have y'all on tonight. So happy Thanksgiving. Bye, y'all.